Thanks for being here. If you enjoy the content, consider subscribing and turning on notifications to stay connected. The cost of leaving. Ava married young, just 19. In her eyes, it wasn't reckless. It was everything she ever dreamed of. A solid man, a peaceful home in the countryside, and the promise of a life filled with stability. Noah, her husband, was practical, disciplined, and grounded. He ran the farm with the precision of a seasoned commander, made sound financial decisions, and kept everything in order. He wasn't overly expressive, but he was kind, loyal, and dependable. And to Ava, back then, that was more than enough. But over the years, what began as contentment slowly curdled into quiet discontent. Every morning started the same. Rise before the sun, prepare breakfast, tend to the kids, manage the endless duties of rural life. Chores turned into habits. Habits into numbness. Conversations with Noah narrowed to weather forecasts, broken fences, livestock illnesses, and loan payments. The warmth between them cooled. There were no arguments, no grand betrayals, just the slow erosion of something once alive. Ava didn't know exactly when it began, this feeling of fading. Every birthday felt like a reminder that she was vanishing piece by piece. Not Ava the dreamer. Not Ava the girl with sketchbooks full of plans. Just labels now. Mom. Wife. Caretaker. Then came Eli. He was in his 20s, new to the area, hired to help with horse care and barn maintenance. He had a quiet curiosity about him. At first, they barely interacted. But one afternoon, as Ava gathered laundry from the line, he remarked on the old tune coming from the radio. A forgotten song from her teenage years. She smiled. They both laughed. And something long dormant stirred awake inside her. Eli saw her. Not the role she played, but her. He listened. He asked about her past, her opinions, her dreams. She started talking again. Laughing again. Feeling again. She didn't plan the affair. It began with harmless conversations and glances. Then came the day Noah was gone on business, and a storm kept Eli near the house. They shared coffee in the kitchen. Silence grew thick. And then it happened. Kiss. Hesitant. Hungry. Honest. Ava pulled away. Then leaned back in. The guilt arrived with the dawn. But it didn't stop her. What followed were hurried moments behind sheds, whispered words under moonlight, trembling hands behind locked doors. Ava knew it was dangerous. Knew what was at stake. But she felt alive in a way she hadn't in years. Eli spoke of leaving, of starting over in a new town. Ava resisted at first. She thought about the kids. About Noah. About the home they'd built. But those thoughts were drowned out by something louder, hope. Reckless, romantic hope. For a different life. For a second chance at being someone new. One night, when Noah was fast asleep, Ava crept into his office and took the stash he kept hidden for future farm upgrades. Tens of thousands in cash. Their escape fund. She left no goodbye. Only a vague, apologetic note. The first days felt euphoric. They drove for hours. Ava laughed freely, tasted food she'd never tried, wore colors she once feared were too bold. She and Eli stayed in cheap motels, drank wine from plastic cups, made up backstories in diners. Felt spontaneous. Felt right. But as the months turned into years, cracks began to show. Eli, once full of big ideas, never settled on one. Every town was not quite it. Every dream of opening a shop or starting a life somewhere evaporated in excuses. He started staying out late, spending more, talking less. The money Ava had stolen dwindled to near nothing. 3 years after they ran, Eli vanished. Took the last of the cash, Ava's emergency phone, and a gold watch Noah had given her after their second son was born. He didn't leave a note. Alone, broke, and emotionally drained, Ava drifted. She took temp jobs, waitress, front desk clerk, janitor. Nothing stuck. She moved into a boarding house with peeling paint and shared bathrooms. She sold off jewelry, clothes, and memories. And one morning, sitting outside a laundromat, she saw a young boy with a backpack, laughing with his mother. Something about his face reminded her of her youngest son. That was the moment it hit her. What she had truly lost. Not Noah. Not the farm. But them. Her children. 5 years had passed since she walked away from it all. She returned to the farm. Not out of courage, but because she had nowhere else to go. She didn't expect a welcome. But the coldness shook her to her core. Her teenage son answered the door. His eyes scanned her face with indifference. When she said her name, he didn't flinch. Just said Noah was busy and shut the door behind him. Minutes later, Noah came out. He looked older, more tired, but still himself. He didn't yell. Didn't ask questions. Instead, he handed her a manila folder. Divorce papers already signed. A note inside stated that she would relinquish any claim to assets or inheritance. In exchange, he wouldn't report her theft. Ava stood there trembling. He tried to speak. Tried to explain. Apologize. Ask about the boys. But Noah simply crossed his arms and said, "They have the right to choose if they want you in their lives. So far, they haven't." Over the next few weeks, Ava tried. Messages. Letters. One of her sons blocked her online. The other never responded. She wondered. Lived in a tiny room near town. Went to church not to pray, but to sit. To remember. She thought about birthdays, bedtimes, bath nights, family dinners. She remembered every time they clung to her legs or asked for one more bedtime story. But those memories didn't soften the silence. 6 days after she returned, she left one final note on the farm gate. "I'm willing to talk. If not for the future, then for the past we once shared." By afternoon, the note was torn, tossed in the trash. Eventually, she signed the divorce papers. Alone, in silence. She tried to exist quietly in the town. She kept to herself. She visited familiar places. Cafes, bookstores, hoping for a glimpse of her sons. One day, she saw the eldest in the square, laughing with friends. She stepped toward him. He looked at her. No words. Just turned away. That night, she packed a few things. An old photo album. A handwritten letter. And walked out of that town without saying a word. The letter. Left at their old school with the security guard. It wasn't a plea. Just a truth. She wrote, "I think of you every day. I know my choices hurt you, and I won't ask you to forgive me. I just want you to know, I never stopped loving you. Even from the outside. Even from far away." The last line read, "When we stop cherishing what we have at home, we risk losing it forever." She left that town for good. No plan. No destination. Just a backpack, a heart filled with memories, and the unshakable weight of her decisions. Back at the farm, life moved on. Noah ran the farm. The boys grew. Their lives carried forward, shaped not by absence, but by what remained. The letter was never opened. And somewhere, Ava walks through a world where no one calls her mom, where her name is forgotten, where her love lingers in silence. Because love, when abandoned, does not wait, fades quietly, and takes everything with it.